Okay. And we're live.
Hey!
Yeah, so we're live. If anybody's watching, make sure to hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching the replay later, make sure hashtag replay in the comments. And yeah, we'll just jump right into it. So Chelsea, tell us a little bit about who you are and where you work and all that fun stuff.
Thanks so much for having me, Matt. My name is Chelsea Atkins. I run the inside sales team at the Haro Group of Keller Williams. We're out of Greenville, South Carolina. Last year, our team did 478 transactions for $96 million. At the time, we had 8 buyers agents, 2 listing agents, a builder trade-in specialist, and 3 inside sales agents. This year, we are on track for the same production with 3 buyer agents, 1 listing agent, 1 builder agent, and 5 inside sales agents. So we've restructured the team. Each agent is going to be doing significantly more production. And we are in the hiring conversation, of course, so that we can continue growing and moving forward. But that's me. And like I said, I am in charge of the inside sales team. So we are the group that prospects for all of the business for the team.
Okay. And so you went from, I noticed you said this, you went from 3 ISAs to 5 ISAs.
Yeah.
With fewer buyer's agents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's the story there?
When we hire, we're just hiring for great talent, and we're hiring to put the individual in the role that's going to best suit them. So we just have more ISAs than we have agents right now. And we also believe that inside sales and learning that prospecting muscle is a great way for a younger person or someone new to sales to get their feet wet before transitioning into an outside agent. So we follow the inside sales model. It's kind of a hybrid of the career ISA and the agent in training. So everyone starts in the ISA department, and they either can stay on as an ISA and make a career of that, or transition to becoming an outside agent. And we work in the specialist model. So buyer specialist, listing specialist, builder specialist, or inside sales, and they're all peer level positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do the inside sales agents, do they work in a specialization like structure as far as buyers or sellers or outbound or inbound?
We've tested that, and what we have found on our team is that when we put someone in a specialist area, they just burn out. Mm-hmm. So with the current group that we have, they're doing inbound and outbound, both buyers and sellers. Now, they may specialize a little bit within that. Like if you're a really high expired converter, you love calling expireds, I'm going to give you more expireds to call. We have someone that really loves FSBOs and is just killer at converting FSBOs. So of course, I'm going to give him more FSBOs to call. So, I kind of look at it on a case by case, but the broad scheme, everyone's inbound and outbound buyers and sellers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how many leads are you guys bringing in every month?
That's such a great question. Oh, wow. So it depends on the lead source. With our just website registration leads, we're bringing in somewhere around 500 a month. We're a really low expired source. We just don't have a ton of them. We may have 30 expireds in a month, not a ton. And FSBOs, we've got a lot of FSBOs. We're probably 10 to 12 a day. New FSBOs coming through Vulcan. I don't know what that math is, but they love going FSBO. They love going FSBO out here.
We noticed that as well. Is that expireds are not dried up, but they're drying up, and for sale by owners are a lot more popular, especially because some of them are selling.
Yeah. And we have a really high percentage of repeat and referral business. So we do a ton of past client events. So our clients are constantly referring us friends and family members. They're coming back and using us again. And because of Haro's reach across the country, we do have a lot of agents from all over that send us referrals. And Greenville's a popular town. We have a lot of people move in here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and part of it is I was wondering, because I think you and I have talked about this before, how many leads can an inside sales agent actually handle? right? How many new leads can they handle each month?
Yeah. So we are actually adjusting our rules of the pipeline right now. For a while, we were just letting inside sales agents have as many leads as they wanted. And if they had a to-do on the lead that was more than 2 weeks old, somebody could then come in and take over that lead. So that was our accountability metric. But now we recently hired an amazing database manager. She's right next to me in the red. And she's setting up new rules for our pipeline. So we're going to have ISAs handling 300 nurtures in their pipeline, outside sales agents handling 200 nurtures. Then you also get 50 hot leads. We define hot as buying and selling in the next, what did we define it as? I think it's 30 days, or they have an appointment set and they haven't met with an agent yet. And then a nurture is will buy, sell, or refer us business in the next 12 months. Everyone else we're going to start moving to the pond system where the other leads go to a pond. Yes. They're monitored with drip plans. And then the database manager, Catherine, will spit them out to agents as needed.
Okay, so if you're moving to a pond system, what CRM are you on? Because I think you guys were previously on Boomtown, right?
Yeah, we're still in Boomtown. So our pond, we have just a general Haro Group account. So they'll just be transferred into the Haro Group, and that account's monitored by the database manager. So that's what we're calling our pond.
Okay, so you've made your own pond, basically.
Yeah, we've made our own pond.
Nice.
And then like when we pull from other sources, like Vulcan, for example, for FSBOs and expireds, we don't put them into Boomtown until they've been spoken with. So there's also kind of another pond set up there. So we have, one agent that calls all of the new leads, and anyone spoken with gets deleted out of Vulcan, put into Boomtown, but all the non-spoken with stay in Vulcan. And then other agents are going through those older leads, constantly trying to talk to them and move them over.
Okay. Yeah. And so with the tools that you're using right now, you've got Vulcan 7, you've got Boomtown. I'm guessing Mojo is where everybody's sitting before you call through them, or you call right through Vulcan.
So we power dial FSBOs and expireds through Vulcan. We circle prospect through the Seize the Market dialer. We use Seize the Market for appointment to close. And then you're going to think we're crazy, but we do not use Mojo. We typically hand dial our lead follow-up, and I think that's going to change shortly. We're just looking at, always to maximize the efficiency of our lead gen. And before I joined the team a couple years ago, all agents did have Mojo. And I don't know why we did away with it, but I think within the next 3 months, we'll be bringing back Mojo for all agents that are dialing.
Okay, that makes sense. Nice. So we're kind of covering all sorts of stuff. It's just always fun to see what you're doing and how it's working. But we're on here for like scripting, language patterns, and self-accountability, which you're the director. Is your title ISA director, or what is your title there now?
We're not really a titles company. So I sit in the seat of inside sales lead. So anyone that's over a department is inside sales lead, marketing lead, operations lead. So we try not to get too heavy on titles.
Awesome. So with what you're doing, scripting is obviously very important.
Yeah. It is. It's so important. I love scripting, and I get super intense about it. So one of the very first things that you have to do when you're hired before I ever let you get on the phone is you do a script checkoff, because everyone knows there are 3 different stages of learning a script. So first you memorize, then you internalize, and then you personalize. And the personalize is way down the road.
But everybody likes to do that right away because they don't sound like me, right?
Right. Well, have you sold 4,000 houses? The people that wrote the script have. So that's why you use the scripts. That's why you use them. Exactly. So, the first thing that I want to do is see that any agent that's going to be on the phone can memorize the script exactly as it's written. So before they get on the phone, it usually takes them about a week. They have to memorize our core scripts. And that's going to be circle prospecting, buyer, we call it LP Mama. FSBO, expired, a general listing script, digging for motivation, like the 3-step digging process, and then the objection handler language pattern. And that's what they have to check off with me before they can get on the phone.
Wow.
We used to just let people kind of dive right in. And then we found that it was causing some bad habits, i.e. the personalizing before the memorizing and internalizing.
Makes sense.
So we decided, hey, we're just going to make sure that we do this right and wait a week to get them on the phone. And we've seen our inside sales agents that started with that protocol ramp up much quicker and have more success with learning their scripts and language patterns.
Okay. Now, the ISAs that are working there, I guess, what are like some of the measures that you guys are measuring each month?
Oh, we measure all the things. So our main focus is appointments held. That is our minimum standard, and we're a very high standards and accountability organization that keeps the emotion out of things. You have certain numbers, and if you don't hit them, it's just a conversation like, okay, these are the numbers that you have to hit. You didn't hit them. What do we need to do? So we focus on helds. And of course, the leading indicator to a held appointment is an appointment set. And the leading indicator to that is number of contacts. And the leading indicator of that is number of dials. So we track all of those. We track dials, contacts, sets, helds, signed, we track conversion rates on just about everything, and we track those everywhere. We use CTE. We also have a really fancy Excel tracker where we put in all of that, and it does our conversions for us.
Okay.
And then each department also has a scorecard where we look departmentally at all of those production numbers, and then we look at a team-wide scorecard with all of those production numbers as well.
Wow. A lot of numbers.
I love a good spreadsheet. I love numbers. Well, in my expectation conversation that I do when hiring someone, like the biggest way to win with me is to know your numbers and track your numbers.
Okay.
Like, that's part of what I tell someone when I'm hiring them on, like, I'm going to know your numbers. I want you to know your numbers.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of questions coming in already.
Oh, cool.
For one, where did you guys get the scripts from?
So a few different places. We use some scripts from the Keller Williams Bold class. We use some Diana Kokoska, her sign call script.
Oh, and by the way, if you can shift a little bit to your left, boom, now you're in center. Okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was like, there's this window that's very bright right here, and so I'm like seeing the reflection. Is it super bright for you guys?
It's pretty bright, but I mean, I think we're still getting the content.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's what matters, right?
Yeah. And so some people in the inside sales world may know of Anna Kruger. She was part of the group that started the ISA MAPS coaching program through Keller Williams. She started on the Haro group. So we never worked at the same time, but she was the first ISA that the Haro group ever had. And she crafted a lot of those scripts and finessed them through that ISA MAPS coaching program. So they're also proven through that program. The majority of the clients of that are using the same scripts.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then let me see, what else do we got here? How many contacts in a database would you say is needed before hiring an ISA?
How many contacts in a database? I mean, I don't think that there needs to be any contacts in a database. I think an ISA is a leverage point. And if you have a cell phone, and you have 100 people that you know, and they have 100 people that they know, and they can just start calling through your sphere and their sphere. 200 people should give you about 20 deals if you communicate with them in the right way. So you really don't even need a database. I mean, you also can send an ISA out door knocking. That's one of the things that inside sales agents do. So, I mean, I doubt this is true for anyone, but say, no, you don't know anyone and your ISA doesn't know anyone. Like, pick a neighborhood that you really want to target that has a good turnover rate and send your ISA out to methodically door knock that neighborhood and get to know people that way. It's going to put you as an agent in your 20%. What you need to be doing as an agent is going on appointments and writing contracts and closing deals. Like, an ISA is specialized in talking to people and converting leads. So let them do what they're great at, because then you have more opportunity to go on those appointments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said something great there about the ISA having a database as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like my first full year, 10% of my closed business was from my own friends and family that I brought to the Haro group.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by hiring somebody, you're bringing in their database, and that it's more income for the team.
Yep, absolutely. For sure. That's one of the requirements when you join the team. Within your first 30 days, you have to turn in a list of 200 people from your sphere that you agree to let us market to.
Oh, that's awesome. That is really awesome.
Yeah.
And then let's see. What was the next question here? Have you ever used a 1099 independent contractor agreement for an ISA? Getting technical here.
So when I first started, I negotiated one of those because I was taking a pay cut and I just wanted to delay the taxes. But no, all of our ISAs are just, normal full-time employees. So I personally have not hired an ISA that way. Okay. I was that when I very first started with the company for 3 months.
Okay. And also, are you using all in-house ISAs, or are you using any virtual? Or
so right now we have all in-house ISAs, and we are currently interviewing for our first virtual ISA. My vision with that person is that they will be prospecting that pond database that we talked about, going through those colder archive leads and converting nurtures or appointments ready to be set and kind of rotating them out to the inside sales agents. So as we're converting leads to appointment, our pipeline's constantly getting filled from that virtual who's specialized in colder lead and also some circle prospecting.
Okay, so they're working less, I guess, not so hot leads.
Correct. Yeah.
They're reviving them and bringing them back and nurturing them and things like that.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Which is
that'll be my first virtual hire. We'll see where we go with that, but I think right now that would be a great morale boost and again a leverage point for the ISAs.
Yeah, and well, you guys have a massive database. So I mean, you toss a virtual assistant into how much?
33,000.
33,000. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess since you said it, where do most of them come from?
All of the sphere from anyone that's ever worked here. Then we also have a website. There's noplacelikegreenville.com, which ranks super high in, the SEO and any kind of search that you could possibly think of for Greenville real estate. We're right up there. So we just drive a lot of organic traffic to that website.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then let's see, where would someone go to start learning to structure this aspect of a business?
Where would somebody go to structure the ISA role of the business? Well, I definitely join the ISA Mastermind Group on Facebook. There's a lot of great tools there. I would say you probably want to get a coach or a consultant that has done it before. Somebody that can just kind of guide you through the process and say, hey, I've done this. Here are the mistakes I made, take you from point A to point B. I think when someone's done it before, there's no point of reinventing the wheel. You just need to find someone that has done it in the same way you want it done. So figuring out what ISA model you want to use, whether that's agent in training or someone to be a career ISA, and then find a good mentor to guide you through.
Makes sense. Makes sense. There's no point in being the person with arrows in your back.
No.
Unless you absolutely have to. Otherwise, there's no point. So getting back to the scripts and the scripting side of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's like huge for anybody that's starting out. What are some of the key mistakes that people are making when they're coming in with the scripts? And like, what are some things that they can do to, I guess, boost their scripting levels?
So back to what I was saying earlier, the biggest mistake I see is personalizing it too early. The scripts are written with really specific sales language, and like that verbiage is what makes the script work and make it powerful. So I think especially if you're new to sales in general, you may not even know like what part of the script you should change. So I would say just stick to the dang script. And as you expand your knowledge of sales language, eventually you'll understand where you can make those tweaks and changes. I also find that one of the most important things to do when you're new and you're learning to script is just to script a freaking lot. At one point, I had 10 different scripting partners, and I scripted 2 times a day for 30 minutes every single day because I was going to be the absolute master of scripts and dialogues.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I was devoted to doing. And now I script 5 days a week for 30 minutes a day. So, I've taken it down a little bit, but I still script a lot. And I think that you just have to commit yourself to mastery, and just know that it's going to take some time. And being a master of scripts takes away a lot of that fear and nervousness that comes along with sales. I remember being terrified of being on the phones when I first started this job. And as soon as I knew the script or the language pattern for every possible scenario, I was like, oh, I got this. And conversions just skyrocketed.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So with that, you said you're practicing all the time. You're scripting a freaking lot.
Yeah.
So how are you doing that? Are you doing that when you're making calls, or you have a script partner? I mean,
so our real estate team is extremely structured. So every single morning, every person on the team, from operations to inside sales to outside sales, is in the office at 8 a.m. We have a team meeting until 8:30. Then you have 15 minutes to break and get coffee, and then at 8:45 everyone is scripting. Operations sometimes do their own scripting as well, but everyone's scripting. And one of my inside sales agents, Matt, he actually makes a scripting calendar for us. So Matt Henson does that, and it's basically a way for us to make sure that every language pattern and script that we work on is rotated through and is built upon. And he's really good at organizing that for us. And you just match up. If there's something that I think someone's weak on, I'll make sure to pair with that person. And then, we just script every single morning together. And then everyone also has at least one outside scripting partner. And then they work with them in the afternoons, typically right after lunch. We take a power lunch. So we do 12 to 1:30. And then typically like 1:30 to 2 is afternoon script practice.
Okay. So you're doing morning and afternoon script practice.
My agents are. I just do morning. Typically, my afternoons are spent coaching or in leadership meetings or interviews, stuff like that. But the rest of the inside sales team does both. Okay,
awesome. And somebody just asked, where can they find the ISA Mastermind Group? That one's just under ISA Mastermind Group.
Yeah.
Facebook. Yep. It's literally called ISA Mastermind Group. I'll put it on the screen.
The admin, I don't know if it lists the admin. Anna Kruger is probably going to show up as the admin.
And that's a great resource for anybody who's getting into scripting or trying to improve their scripting. I mean, there's so many different resources from there. It's not just for ISAs. Anybody who's in real estate can get something from that. Yeah. Let's see. What about when? Oh, I love this question. What about when Bold comes to town and we're all calling expireds and for sale by owners?
That is a tough time for sure. We just know that we're going to have to be more diligent. So like we will do our first call at 7:30 a.m. And then we make sure to call 3 times a day and do the 5-day voicemail campaign and like stick to that to a T.
Okay.
And then there's like part of it, we just know like, okay, there's going to be more people calling. So we're going to get that done. And we're really going to focus on our database and our follow-up right now, because it's just going to be a little tougher on those 2 lead sources for 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so true. You wouldn't think it makes that big of a difference because there's so many agents in every market anyways.
Yeah.
But when you have 50 to 100 all of a sudden decide to start dedicating a couple hours a day to expireds and for sale by owners, I mean, it makes a difference.
And I mean, we call those every single day. So we're going to be better at talking to them than the majority of the agents that are calling those for the first time. So we also have to be just confident that the quality of our conversation is going to be very different. Not to say that people in that class shouldn't dive in and start calling and won't convert them. They absolutely will.
Yep.
And we just know that we're really great at talking to those leads, and our team has a lot more to offer than a brand new agent. Like, we have a lot of value adds, which is why we continue to call.
Exactly. And let's see, do you recommend tweaking the script slightly because sellers hear the same thing over and over? I once actually had a seller recite a bold script back to me. That is awesome.
We don't use the bold scripts for FSBOs or expireds.
Okay.
We use the ones that I was saying, Anna Kruger, kind of tailor-made for us. And I would say, like, a lot of times conversations, you can have a script, but that's why you have to know language patterns and how to dig deep on things, how to handle objections rather than using a one-liner, but like, welcome the objection, rephrase, ask 3 questions about it, dig into it, then you rephrase again, then you do a conditional close. If you know these patterns, you have your script, which is your framework and those parts of the script that never change, but that allows you to take their conversation wherever it needs to go and then get back to the script. And then you may use a language pattern over here and get back to the script. So just because I say stick to the script in the way that it's worded, like, how often does the conversation actually follow the script? So when it does,
how do you deal with that?
I mean, you deal with that by just knowing your stuff. Like, you have to know every language pattern there is, and you just have to know how to have a conversation with people, because sometimes when you're calling an expired, they just want to be heard. They want to vent their frustration about your horrible time. So, I mean, if you're saying, hey, tell me, why do you think your house didn't sell? Usually it's condition, market, or agent. Like, what's your opinion? And then they say, gosh, it was the agent. Okay, tell me more about that. What was your experience like? And then they just go. And you're asking, okay, tell me more about that. Tell me more. Okay, how did that impact you? And by the end of it, you've built so much rapport with them, like, because you used a language pattern, then maybe you just get to skip to the part of the expired script where you close.
So I guess let's go through language patterns. What exactly are you talking about when you say language patterns?
Okay, so a language pattern, and I don't know the dictionary definition. I'm going to make this up.
And also, where did you learn it all?
Oh, I learned it all from being in the ISA Mastermind Group and from being part of ISA MAPS coaching. We also recently had a language pattern boot camp here with Anna Kruger. I'm just always looking to learn more about sales language. I've taken language of sales. Any class and every class I possibly can about the topic.
Right.
But a language pattern essentially is just an outline for a way of communicating. That's not as much of a script, but a kind of a thought process around how to approach certain situations and conversations. So, for example, the language pattern for handling objections. So someone gives you an objection. What do most agents do? They give you a one-liner. They immediately tell you why that's wrong and how they can solve it. So the proper way to handle an objection is, step 1, you want to welcome it so that the prospect feels heard. Then you want to rephrase it. So I don't want to pay commission. Oh my gosh, Matt, thank you so much for letting me know that. So what I'm hearing you say is you just don't want to pay an agent commission. Is that correct? So then you're rephrasing it. Again, you're building rapport. You're using their same words. You're making them feel heard. Then you are digging into it. So Matt, tell me, what about paying commission concerns you? So then you're digging down, finding out the root of the problem by asking questions about that initial objection. Because what do we know about objections? Usually that surface level objection isn't the real objection. Matt doesn't want to pay commission because he needs $50,000 for the down payment on his next house. And he thinks that by paying commission, he can't net $50,000. Well, now we know that the true issue is he has to net $50,000. So then you can rephrase and actually say that back, Matt. So what I'm hearing you saying is that you don't want to pay commission, but what it really comes down to is you need $50,000 to put down on this next house. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Then Matt agrees. Then you solve it for him. Conditional close. Matt, if I can show you a way that even with that fee in there, we can net you the $50,000, get you into the next house and take all of the stress off of doing those showings and doing your contract and negotiations yourself, wouldn't that be worth a conversation with my listing agent? Okay, great. 2:00 today or 4:00 tomorrow?
Mhm.
That's a language pattern. So
I love
like there's not a concrete script for it, but it's a pattern of how to handle something.
And what's like a really basic pattern that somebody could do? Like
Digging,
even for the new agent who's in bold,
yeah.
who has to compete with you guys.
Yeah, digging 3 deep for motivation. That's the most important language pattern to know. So
Mhm.
whether you're talking to a buyer or a seller, the first thing you need to find out is why the heck they want to sell. Because if they're not motivated, they're not going to buy or sell.
Wait,
So,
you mean downsizing is not a motivation?
no, downsizing is not a motivation, Matt. um, so what you just need to do, and I literally will have a page and I'll write arrows. So somebody tells me, hey Matt, why are you thinking about moving? Okay, I want to downsize. So I write down downsize, and it's important. You want to repeat their exact words back to them in their phrasing. Again, that builds rapport. Okay, so Matt, what's important to you about downsizing? That's the first question. Okay, so then Matt gives me the answer. I want a smaller house and less maintenance. Okay, perfect. What would less maintenance do for you? Well, it would allow me to spend time with my kids and spend more time with, my spouse, because, we don't get a lot of time together. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know that. How would spending more times with your kids and your spouse impact your life? That's question number 3. So then you have 3 layers deep. You've peeled back the onion. You know why they want to downsize, all the way down to how that impacts their life, so that when you're ready to set that appointment, okay, Matt, the next step is for you to meet with us. But what we're really going to do is talk about how you can spend more time with your kids and your wife, so that they can be happy and have, a parent in their life, because you told me that when you were growing up, you didn't have your dad around. So you're tying that back. And then when the transaction gets rough and hairy and they're like, oh, I don't want to accept this offer that's, $1,000 below list price. Okay, well, remember when you told me that you really wanted to downsize because you need to spend time with your kids and your spouse because you want to be there for them like your dad wasn't for you? I mean, do you think that's worth taking $1,000 less than we originally thought? Okay, perfect. So knowing how to dig for motivation and digging deep on anything, usually the answer that you're given isn't the real answer.
Exactly. And that's just like the what is it, the script from when you walk into a department store and they ask you if they can help you, and you say, we're just looking.
That's a stall. There's a language pattern for stalls too.
Oh, really? So what are some examples of some stalls?
So there are 3. I'm not interested. Email me, or I'm busy. I'm busy, I'm in a meeting, one of those. So the way to overcome a stall, which this is the most common thing that you'll get. And there's a difference in a stall and an objection. So a stall, same thing. You want to welcome it. Oh my gosh, thank you. I am so glad that you told me that. And then you want to ask a question. Does this pattern seem familiar? So if it's, I'm busy. Okay, when would be a better time? Or email me. Okay, perfect. What information do you want me to email? What do most people ask? What's your email address? Ask, what information do you want me to email? And then again, because they're probably not really busy or probably don't want you to email them, it's okay, in 30 seconds or less, what had you interested in the first place? Or in 30 seconds or less, what has you thinking about moving? And oftentimes you ask that question, you get them talking, and then they just keep talking because they really weren't busy. They just wanted to get off the phone with you.
Right. Wow. And that's using the time frame. Is that really important to say in 30 seconds or less?
Yeah, because you're like, I hear you. I'm valuing your time. But the trick is if they say a second time, actually, I really am busy, or actually, Matt, I am truly just not interested anymore, that means they're serious. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the key. If they say it twice, cool, just let them go. But if they just say it once at the beginning, follow the pattern in 30 seconds or less, get them talking, and then just keep asking questions. And by the end of it, you're having a 5-minute combo.
Wow. That's awesome. You guys, if you're enjoying this, make sure you comment #value below. So we've covered kind of scripting and language patterns. Now we talked about self-accountability, and I'm sure this is extremely important as an ISA, as well as most agents. So especially for you guys, you have a ton of accountability built into your systems.
We do. We do. We are a very accountability heavy team.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with our really strict production standards. So, like I said, for ISAs, that is 10 held appointments a month, 5 must be listings. And then there's the leading indicators of 40 contacts a day, 1 appointment set a day. And then for outside sales agents, it is for buyer side outside sales agents, 8 signed agencies a month and 4 contracts written a month.
Okay.
And for listing agents, they just rewrote the standard. I believe it's 12 signed listings and 10 contracts, maybe 15 signed listings. They just rewrote that standard. So I'm not sure 100% for listing side.
And that's the agent's requirements. Is that right?
That is our minimum standard. So what that means is we always are working on a 3-month rolling average. So it's not like you don't hit it a month and you're gone, but we're always looking 3 months back to see what the previous 3 looked like. If at any point you're below your minimum standard on a 3-month rolling average, you're moving into a month on a performance growth plan. And that very strictly outlines your schedule is a lot more compact. You're having to do more activities, a much stricter 15th protocol. And if by the end of that month you are not back up to standard, typically it is an exit conversation.
Okay. And you mentioned a 15th protocol.
Yeah.
So there's an accountability tool.
Yes. So a 15th protocol, at the beginning of the month, at first, everyone on the team has a coach. Whether you are Haro, our CEO, or the brand new ISA in training, every single person on the team has a coach. So you're meeting with your coach. Typically, the last Monday of the month, you're planning for the next month. So you're talking through your goals. We're doing 15th protocol usually for the stretch goal rather than the minimum standard, because most people here are hitting minimum standard and have goals to be 50 to 100% above it. I mean, we have folks that double the minimum standard. So we're setting 15th protocol based off of their stretch goal. And what that looks like is if by the 15th you're not at certain numbers agreed upon by your coach, something is enacted. So you may do one call night a week for the rest of the month, or as an ISA, we don't typically work Saturdays, so we may come in and work a Saturday. We also have, 15th protocol in the positive. So, say you have a goal of hitting 15 helds and on the 15th you're already at 13. We may say, okay, if you're already at X number, you get to reward yourself by taking a day off and not having to use a vacation day.
Nice.
Or you get to take a half day on such and such Friday. So we try and do rewards like that. So that's 15th protocol.
Okay. And so what are some of the things that you do as an ISA or as an agent to hold yourself accountable to hitting your goals? Maybe you don't have the money for a coach yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have several tools that we use for that. We use a tool called the 411, which is an accountability tool that tracks both production and personal items that we want to do. But if you talk about production, you have a breakdown of your annual goals kind of at the top of the page. So, I want to do 100 transactions this year, which means I need to take 125 clients. And then it breaks it down to monthly and then weekly. So your weekly activities, if I know I need to make 100 contacts this week, set 5 appointments, have 4 that hold and 3 that sign. And you're either checking, I did this, or I hit 3 out of 4. And then whatever you don't hit rolls down to the next week. So your breakdown, but when something's not hit, it increases the next week. So you're never getting too far behind. We also use just a really simple Excel tracker to track our numbers. And I think even if you're an individual agent, it's really important for you to track your numbers so that you know where you are. Agent, I would make an Excel spreadsheet and I would track my dials, my contacts, my appointments set, held, taken, contracts written, and closings. We also track, I'm going to pull up my tracker in front of my face so I can see all the things we track. We also track like the number of days that we're here, just so you know how many business days were you here, how many did you take a vacation, so you really know how much you're working in a year. We track how many people we added to our database, how many new nurtures we found that day, how many referrals you received, how many referrals you sent, how many business to business meetings you had, how many open houses you attended, how many doors you knocked on, how many doors did you talk with, how many appointments did you reschedule. And then we have our conversions built in. But if you don't have a way to, if you're not an Excel guru and you don't know how to build your conversions, you can just do some simple division and figure those out. Right. So I would say hold yourself accountable by having tools to measure your weekly success. And if you can't afford a coach, just ask someone in your life to hold you accountable. Whether that's a spouse or a friend in business that you really admire that you think would be good at holding you accountable. Just ask someone and say, hey, every Friday at the end of the week, I'm going to email you this document that has all of my numbers. And I'm just letting you know, like, if you don't get that from me, like, you need to bug me until I do. And just see if there's someone in your life that can help you with that. Don't go at it alone. Right. Especially like on that ISA Mastermind Group or a lot of different agent Facebook pages. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of peers that will be happy to help hold you accountable as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of times they want the accountability in return.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You know, and that was something that I used to do with my script partners. You know, once a week when we talked, at the end of the talk, we would go over our numbers. Yeah. Just real briefly. You know,
that's awesome.
How many appointments were set? How many were listed? Are you on track or not?
Yep.
So we kept it really brief because obviously with script partners, you want to keep moving.
Sure. Yeah.
Everybody's got a goal, but no, that's one of the things we did as well.
Yeah.
So I guess what are some other things that you like to nerd out about as far as the language patterns, the scripting, self-accountability? What are some of those?
Ooh. Other things that I have my notes here.
I know, right?
Gosh, I am such a nerd out just about tracking in general. So I'm going to pick up my computer so y'all can see all of the trackers that we have up. Okay. So I track everything, and I have like posters because I love, like, there's something so fulfilling about like writing in the name of my next closing or like crossing off when a new agency's held. I also have like my favorite scripts up on the wall. So, okay, hold on. I'm going to figure out how to make this work. We're going to move. All right. So this is a fun contest I'm doing for myself. You can see the wine bottles. So for every 20 contacts I get, I'm rewarding myself with something. I'm a big wine, like nice old world red lover. So when I get my contact metric, I reward myself with wine. And then this pink poster right here.
At the office or just in general? I said, you reward yourself with wine at the office or in general?
I heard you. In general. And Hara won't mind me saying, we're a very fun team. Like, that's just, if you don't follow the Hara group on Instagram, all I do is win Wednesdays. Follow us. It's amazing. We have a lot of fun here. Okay. So then my pink is my closings tracker. So I literally write people's name when they go under contract. I cross them off. I've got some like trackers here that are agencies, held, taken goal. So that's all fun. And then you can see above my desk, can you see there's like scripts everywhere? On the back wall, we have a contest going on for the department. So one of the things that I love to do, and I get super passionate about in the sales department, is contests because most salespeople are really competitive. So if you're a single agent, like find someone, on a Facebook group that you can do a contest with. But right now we're doing a personalized contest for everyone. So if you're 40% above your minimum standard, with at least half of those being listings, everyone gets a personalized prize. So like someone's getting tickets to Bristol because they're a huge NASCAR fan. We have someone that loves like going out in like Charlotte or Atlanta, like a big city. So he's going to get a night away. One girl's going to get a shopping spree. We have someone else that has like several family weddings, and he's new. So we're going to reimburse him for some of his airline expense. So I'm super passionate about doing like little prizes in between, especially for inside sales teams, because oftentimes your money is tied in to someone else. So those little wins in between really keep you going.
Right.
And I think for outside sales as well, the sales cycle is really long. So like keeping those little bursts, we do some fun stuff at our sales meeting every Wednesday. We do money bag pulls. So anyone that set an appointment a day gets to pull from a money bag, and it's anywhere from $5 to $50.
Nice.
The most buyer agencies taken gets a money bag pull. Most listings signed gets a money bag pull. Most ISA held appointments gets a money bag pull. Any operations team member that brought a lead to the team that set an appointment, money bag pull.
Okay.
So we do little things like that, and I'm super passionate just about like fun contests every month to keep the energy up. I think when you're prospecting all day, you have to do that. You have to be excited. We also play ISA bingo. We have a bingo card. Oh, let's see if I can find the bingo card. Here it is.
ISA bingo. Okay.
Yeah. It's so fun. So I'm going to hold it there for a second so y'all can see it. But it's just, baby on the way, luxury buyer hung up on you, says I've sold homes before. So like all of the things that you run into, we'll do bingo, and like the winner will get a $5 QT treat, like a slushie or, just something small.
Right.
We also have a bell. So, Catherine, will you ring the bell so our listeners can hear the bell? So anyone that sets an appointment rings the bell.
Nice.
And then we have a gong, which is even louder. So anytime you get a signed client or a contract, you ring the gong. So we just keep things kind of fun and energized around here. And that's just one of the funnest parts. I'm so passionate about all of that.
All the gamification, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
That is so fun. And so you guys are on track to do, you said earlier, 400 and how many transactions?
470 something.
Okay, so you guys are on track to do 470 something, and you've gone down in the number of people that work there, and you've maintained that, which is crazy because a lot of people right now are looking at numbers going, okay, I didn't do more than last year. What's going on, right? But in this market, the way that things are going, most people, a lot of teams even, are doing fewer and fewer transactions over the past 2 to 3 years than normal. So you guys maintaining and dropping people off and becoming, more profitable, more effective, all of that is huge.
Yeah. I think that really speaks to the high skill level of the prospecting on our team. We are a prospecting team, inside sales and outside sales. Everyone prospects for at least 3 hours a day. And that's just not something that we're ever going to stop doing. And when our agent count went down, we didn't lose anyone in our database. We weren't getting any fewer leads. So it's just more opportunity for each person to convert more. And then we ultimately did hire more ISAs who are doing this full time. So it's really been great for each individual on the team. And I mentioned earlier, we are always looking for talent, and in that process with other people. But it's been really great to see the people we have here thrive through that change. And they're all going to have their best years.
That's awesome. And if anybody's watching, if you have more questions, feel free to put those down in the comments. Also, #live if you're watching live, #replay if you're watching the replay. But any other questions, put those down in the comments. We'll try and get them. I know we're at 50 minutes, so we'll try and wrap up here pretty quick. So you said you guys are always looking for more people, and that could be in are you guys expanding currently, or are you guys still in plan?
So expansion is the long-term vision, and right now we are really devoted to the Greenville market, and we want to have our systems running really smoothly here, and work on rebuilding an amazing culture.
Okay.
One of the things that we did when we went down in agent count was we actually went up in operations count, which normally people, like have a heart attack when I say that, because that's not the norm to have as many ops as we do to agents. But we just want our systems to be rock solid so that when we do bring in the agents, we have the systems to back it up and the support team to back it up. Mm-hmm. I have no idea where I was going with that.
No worries. I'm curious. So when a new lead comes in, mm-hmm. What's your day one look like? Your day one through the next couple days?
Great question. So obviously calling them within 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Does that make a big difference?
Yeah, because, okay, so most people are going to be browsing on their phone, right? I mean, that's how the majority of people browse the internet these days. Mm-hmm. So if you call them within 5 minutes, or even better, within 30 seconds, they still have that device in their hand. They're still engaged in that activity. So you're more likely to actually catch them because they're holding their phone, and you're more likely to have a great conversation because they're still thinking about real estate. Mm-hmm. So speed to lead is absolutely key. Let's say we don't get them on the phone. Mm-hmm. We're going to leave a voicemail. We're going to try and call them several times in that first day. We're going to send 2 text messages, an email. We're going to put them on a e-alert based on the kind of property they were looking at, or if it was a seller valuation based on their neighborhood or their zip code. We're going to be emailing them some sort of data. Okay. Then we also have a 45-day qualify plan that sends a series of value add emails and auto populates all of our calls and text. Wow. Actually, auto sends all of our texts for us, so that's really nice.
That is awesome.
That's all Catherine, the database manager. She's
that's
amazing.
Great. I'd be curious to know which system she's using to do that.
Boomtown.
Oh, it's all through Boomtown.
Yeah, all through Boomtown. They've made some recent upgrades to Boomtown, and it's doing some pretty amazing stuff. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, we're really hammering them that first day. And for 45 days, we're sticking with them. And then if we haven't spoken with a lead, and it's not a call a day for 45 days by any means, the first 5 days, they are getting a call and a voicemail every single day for 5 days.
And what does a voicemail sound like?
So it depends. The first voicemail is just your general. You do want to tell them who you're with, why you're calling, call me back by 5 today so we can talk about your moving plans. Then your next 3 voicemails are going to be some sort of value add voicemail. So whatever value adds you have personally, that's what you want to have in your voicemail. And you want to switch them up a little. So you don't always want to say, "Hey, it's Chelsea at the Horror Group." You'll go straight into your value add. Oh, by the way, it's Chelsea at the Horror Group. Mm-hmm. That little difference in pattern is they're more likely to stick with the voicemail. So 3 value add voicemails. And then your last one, you have to be really careful with your tone, but it's the hey, I don't know if you're busy or maybe you're just not interested. But anyways, call me back today by 5 o'clock, just so I know. And that's the kind of final ditch effort to get them. And you'll be surprised at how many people call back and are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I haven't returned all your calls." Or maybe they send you a text and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not interested."
Right.
Well, at least you know now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get a ton of response. We were using a 10 days of pain. I think a lot of people are familiar with that, and just had 0 results. So this new 45-day drip plan has really increased our conversion on qualifieds. We haven't been doing it long enough for me to know the exact data. But just the feeling is that we're getting a lot more people out of qualify now.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And when you say out of qualify, that's kind of like an inside term.
Yes. Yeah. So for us, when I say qualify, that means a lead that we have that we've attempted to contact, but have never actually spoken with. Right. So we're not sure what to do with them. A never spoken with lead that we've attempted to contact.
And so that would be kind of between the new and interested or not interested.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. And then, so we've gone over language patterns. Did we go over pattern interrupts?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's much to. to do on that.
Do you use pattern interrupts?
I mean, yeah, and I don't say it. I wouldn't say that I'm like passionate and like super level 10 knowledge of all things pattern interrupt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because those are always interesting. And I've heard some people say that they love them, and some people say that they just kind of ignore them and they stick to the language pattern, like what you're doing right there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it's like the voicemail thing. Like some people love voicemails, some people won't leave voicemails at all.
Yeah.
And
we use the I guess it's a pattern. Like the opposite is reasonable. Like that's kind of a pattern interrupt. Like, hey, a lot of people would stay renting. Like, what has you thinking about buying a house? I mean, we use them some, but
okay. And that one you referred to just now was the opposite.
The opposite is reasonable. So you say whatever they think you're going to say, you're actually going the opposite to put them subconsciously on the defensive, but not in a way to make them argue.
Okay. Awesome.
The opposite is reasonable.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, most people would be looking on Amazon today. What has you out driving around looking at houses? Or you could have been online shopping for clothes. Why did you log into our website?
That's awesome. And how does that work for the most part?
Really well. Most people laugh and they're like, oh, yeah, well, and they tell you why they're doing what they're doing.
Well, and it's great because it throws them off their guard, right? So if they're planning on like I'm just going to tell them I'm not interested thing, and then all of a sudden you throw something in there and they actually have to think about it. It's like,
yeah, so that's the whole point of a pattern interrupt.
Exactly. So we've got a couple minutes left. I guess, what are some of your parting thoughts or anything that you would leave any agents watching this with to maybe use as an actionable step or something to learning scripts or being more accountable or learning language patterns other than joining the ISA Mastermind Group?
Yeah, it's a great group. So I would say if you're not tracking your numbers, just start tracking your numbers tomorrow, or better yet, start tracking them today. Just build a simple spreadsheet and make sure that you just track them. Build it into your routine every single day, because that's just how you're going to increase your business. Because if you don't know what you've done, you don't know what you need to do, and you won't know how you've grown. So start tracking your numbers. Find scripts that work and just memorize them, and lean in to the funkiness that you're going to feel at the beginning, because everyone has that thought of, oh, this doesn't sound like me. And that's okay, because the people that wrote them sold thousands and thousands of homes. And most likely, if you aren't using scripts yet, you're not at that level yet. And by using that script, you can get there. And hire an ISA.
Hire an ISA.
They're just amazing leverage.
Could you hire as your first hire? Could they be an admin / ISA, or does it have to be a direct ISA, or can you hire a part-time ISA? I mean, what are your options there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely hire a part-time ISA. I don't know if the personality type for an ISA and an admin or an assistant would necessarily be the same. So, you may find that they're going to burn out on one end of the spectrum. Usually an ISA is a little more sales minded. So if you have the expectation of, okay, you're going to be ISA / admin, and no, admin's not your thing, but like do it for 6 months so we can increase my business and then replace that end. Or the other way around, hire someone that's admin brain, is that, hey, I know that the phones thing may, not be your favorite, but if you can just stick with me and help me increase my business so I can hire a full-time one of those, we'll get you out. I think it could work. ISAs do have to have the ability to do some systems things, because they're putting appointments in the system. They're taking down a lot of data. They're doing confirmation. They're doing follow-up. They're in the database a lot. So there's probably some crossover. Obviously, probably want to hire an assistant before you hire an ISA, because you need someone to help handle all of the business before you can go crazy and increase the business. But maybe a great second hire, to get you ramped up to hire your first buyer's agent.
Makes sense. And like you said, when you bring in the ISA, you're bringing in more business. So it's not necessarily a cost as much of an investment.
Right. It's definitely an investment. I would say the average ramp up time for an ISA we found is about 6 months. They can be setting appointments, the first week that they're on the phone, but for them to really be firing at 100% capacity, rocking and rolling, feeling confident, setting that 1 to 2 appointments a day does take about 6 months. So just expect their return to be a little delayed, especially with a longer sales cycle. Just know about month 6.
And since we're going in this direction, what does an ISA typically cost, or what is the investment for an ISA initially?
So I'll speak for what our team does. We believe that the way to retain great talent is to pay them well, and we want career ISAs. And the way to have a career ISA is to make sure that they can make as much as an agent. So when they are in their first 90 days, they are sort of on. They're auditioning for a role in our team.
You didn't use the word probation.
No, but we're seeing if they're going to be a fit and to be able to do the role. So their base salary is a little smaller. They're at $24,000, and then they get a flat fee bonus for closings of $350. They're required to get licensed during that 90 days. Once they pass that 90-day point, we increase the base salary to $30,000, and then they're getting 10% on each side, buyers and sellers at close. So first year you can expect an ISA to make 50,000, then 75, then 100 plus by year 3. Okay. So you're going to have someone stay with you if they know that's a possibility for them.
That they can have a 6-figure income within 3 years.
Yep.
And so what are some of the things that you look for in an ISA when you're hiring? And I know you're very big on the disc profiles as well, so you can speak to that.
So we've kind of gone all over the board now with disc profiles. We used to hire kind of an agent disc profile, the DI or ID. Now I'm looking more for I with some level of S. Okay. Because of the follow-up and the steadiness, and I want to retain them here. And I think the higher Ds tend to want to move out and become agents fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for a high level of I because I want them to love talking to people. With some S, I certainly wouldn't turn away an ID or even an I with a little bit of C. That I is just really important. But I think for us, we're just looking for a track record of success. We typically don't hire people that have been in real estate. We don't even hire people with a sales background. I was a theater major who had been working for a financial planning firm. But we just look at the track record of success. We look at how they show up to interviews, how they communicate. Mm-hmm. And I think when there are those indicators, you're going to have a good person. I've heard of a lot of teams that will just put them on the phone or do like a script practice to see how they dive into things. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yep, and we did that. Previously. Great to see whether or not somebody could jump in there or not. Even a role play. If you don't want to get them on the phone, even a role play can make a huge difference. Yeah.
And I think just setting good expectations of like, you are going to be on the phone all day and your job is absolutely integral to the business. Like you support the agents, you support the operations team. If they understand that they're more than a telemarketer, that they are the lifeblood of an organization, you're going to hire great talent because people want to be important and they want to see the difference that their job makes. And I feel like an inside sales agent, I mean, that's the role on the team that gets everything spinning and going.
Yeah. And it can make so much difference because I think we talked about, I run Facebook ads for a lot of agents, and the difference between an agent being able to convert and not being able to convert is whether or not they can be on the phone. And if they're doing 3 deals a month, 4 deals a month, it's tough for them to respond to those leads quickly.
Yeah. So
the agents who have ISAs, we see higher conversion rate right off the bat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. I mean, we're talking 2 closings a month, and it pays for itself. Mm-hmm. And everything on top of that is bonus.
Yep.
So yeah, it's and you went over the I and the D, and do you mind really quick just going over the DISC?
Sure, absolutely. So the D is the dominance.
Mhm.
It is. Oh gosh, I wish I had my disc chart around me because I'm gonna just totally botch this. But D stands for dominance.
Yeah.
I is influence, so the people person.
Mhm.
S is steadiness, and C is compliance. So
Right.
S is the largest majority of the population.
Mhm.
If you talk to someone on the phone, like the highest likely disc profile that they have is S. C, think of your engineers.
Mhm.
I think of the person that is going to talk your ear off. And D is the person that's just short, straight, to the point. Sometimes may come across as a little bit of a asshole.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Pretty
they're
much.
not. I'm a high D. I'm very nice.
Yep.
But they're, just quick to the point.
Right. Okay. So with the IS that you were talking about earlier, you're looking for somebody who's the talkative person who also has that steadiness side.
Yep. Because I want them to nurture and stick with people and be okay with follow up and be okay with the long ramp up process that we have and be okay with our slower sales cycle in this business. And I want them to be content as an ISA in this department and to love it and to stick with this role.
Yeah. And that's something that you're not necessarily going to get out of the really high D. It seems like their first thought is like,
What's
2
next?
weeks in, wait, how much did the agent just make? I'm going to go be an agent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So that or they want to jump on expireds.
Yeah. Not after 2 weeks. No.
Oh, man. Wow. So how long are people in the program before they get to touch expireds and stuff like that?
So first 30 days, all you get are archive leads and you get to circle prospect. We just want to see you dive in there, do the grunt work, learn how to create nurtures, find nurtures, and just talk to people. Like we would rather you screw up on a random call than with a super high value lead. That's just your time to learn and make a messy sauce and get better.
Okay.
Then after you pass your 30 days, you get access to for sale by owners, both new and old. And then you get, depending on how the month falls, 1 to 2 on-call slots where you're receiving inbound leads. And that's going to be towards the end of that. And you also have to do another script checkoff for sign calls that comes after that first script checkoff. And then your last 90 days, you get access to expireds, both new and old, and seller valuation leads.
Okay.
And then we also assign inbound leads based on production. So, typically when you're new, like that 90 days, you may get 3 or 4 slots. And then after that, after you pass your 90 days, you have access to all leads. You're just a normal rotation based on production.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I mean, thank you so much for being here. We're already over an hour, and I don't want to keep you too long because we could go on forever on this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you so much for being here. We totally appreciate all the information you brought to us. It's been awesome. I added you to the group so you can see this later.
Perfect. Thanks.
We'll remind everybody that they can check out a lot of this sort of stuff in the ISA Mastermind Group in Facebook.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. And we told them to go follow Haro on Instagram.
Yeah, do it.
So awesome. Right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care. That awkward part where we